저희 도서 쌤 배워주시.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Write or Die Show. I'm your host, Randi-lee. On the show, we interview other writers and we talk about mental health from their personal journeys. If you have not already hit that like and subscribe button, go ahead, do that now so that you never miss an episode. Hello! So as you can clearly see, I am not in the regular spot. I'm outside and it's gorgeous out. Because inside is my ducks are finally getting cleaned. So you get to enjoy the great outdoors with me. And because you are enjoying the great outdoors, oh, he just walked away. I wanted to show you something that I talk about a lot. Look, can you see? That's Daphne. Zen has run away. If he comes back, I'll share that with everybody. But you got to see the little beagle bagel. She's quite the cutie. They are not allowed in this area where I'm sitting because last time they came in here, they killed all my plants, and I'm just not down for that. So they are not welcome. But you know who is welcome? Our guest. So let's welcome Russell Little to the stage. Hello.
Hello, Randi-lee. And I'm sorry if one of your dogs has run away. That's very disconcerting.
Well, he's not run. He's just on the other side of the pool, so I can't see him.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's not bad. And I can understand how they destroy your plants.
Yeah. So we got this beautiful new, see that beautiful new fence around the plants? And
right.
I love my garden.
They're like herb gardens, what it looks like you're growing.
Well, I have some herbs. I got lots of strawberries. This is the first year I'm doing some zucchini. Actually, I've got one zucchini that's just about ready. It's pretty big, so I'll probably have to get it tomorrow. I'm thinking.
Simple things can be so exciting, can't they? Some of
really
the simplest, silly things.
They totally are. Oh, there he is. I don't know if everybody can see him back there, but there's the puppy. He's back. So Russell, tell us, who is Russell?
Okay, Russell Little. I'm a 66-year-old attorney. I practiced law for 40 years in Houston, doing divorce and criminal law, and was married to the same woman for 41 years and raised a family of 3 children. Before that, I grew up in a little town called Amarillo, Texas. Probably nobody's heard of, in the panhandle of Texas. If you think of all the stereotypes of Texas, the desert, the distance forever, the flat land, the wind, that's the Texas I grew up in.
Oh, that sounds pretty. Isn't there a song about Amarillo, Texas?
There is, but I hate it. And I don't
But I'm right. There is one. That's why I've heard of it before.
It's like a George Strait or something. Yeah. I'm not country western guy, so I don't know the song.
I love country western. It's my favorite. I actually saw George Strait in concert.
I have too, unfortunately.
But really good singer, really boring concert. But he's also super, super old. Like, he would go to the edge, he'd sing a song, then he'd go to the other side and sing. But like, he's also ancient. We saw him because we actually got tickets to see Reba, and did not realize. Well, I didn't buy the tickets. My husband did, and he did not realize that like Reba was going to be on stage, and then George Strait was going to be on stage. He's like, I don't know who George Strait is, and then he'd start playing the song. He was like, oh, I know the song. I'm like,
even more than that. I'm in Atlanta right now, and the Rolling Stones were here last week. How old are those dudes? And how are you still alive, living the lifestyle they've lived and being as old as they are? How did that happen? It can't happen.
They're robots.
I don't. They're duplicates. They're copies. They're not the real ones.
They're skinwalkers, as my
They
child
are
would call
skinwalkers. Even if they're even if they are who they say they are, they're still skinwalkers.
them, right?
Yikes.
I never thought of
Yikes.
it that way. Exactly. Exactly. Um, so as much as I would love to just keep chit-chatting, which would be so much fun, let's talk mental health. Let's talk disability. Let's start your story wherever makes sense for you.
Okay. And thank you, Randi-lee. And when I saw what our topic was, I was real excited. This is not something I really get to talk about. And in fact, my oldest sister was disturbed because she's like, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Uh,
Oh, that's
when
funny.
I was a little boy going into the first grade, I couldn't speak where anyone understood me at
Oh,
all.
wow.
And I didn't speak where people understood me until second grade. I had that, and I had ADHD, but as you look at me, you can tell it was far enough back when they didn't call it that. They called it a discipline problem,
Yep.
right? And in fact, just this morning on Facebook, someone did one of those memes that was like uh, a kid standing outside the class, when they were sent
Yep.
outside the class,
Yep.
saying that is better than not discipline or whatever. I didn't pay much attention to it. I just remember thinking I spent almost the entire second grade standing in the hall outside the class.
Oh my gosh.
But anyway, but I got a speech therapist in the first grade that was probably way ahead of her time. She was spectacular because when every week when she came to get me, I was so excited to
Oh,
go with her,
good.
and all the other kids were jealous because I thought all I did for an hour was play games with this lady.
Right? They are so. I something I have not shared on the show yet. I mean, I've been doing this for like 3 years, so there's not a heck of a lot. But this is something I have not shared because nobody has talked about speech therapy really. I was also one of those kids that got taken, and yeah, all we did was play games because I could not say the letter S when it was in the middle of the word. So, like, I could say snake because it was at the beginning of the word, but I couldn't say horse because it was in
Or
the middle.
Russell.
Or rustle, that's right. It would come out as ruffle. It was a
Right.
TH sound. If it was in the middle,
Right.
it was a TH. It would be ruffle, horse, house. So I got to go and play all the games too. And yeah, it didn't feel like actual speech therapy. It was just fun.
Were all the people in your class jealous of you too?
I think a couple were. There was a couple other ones that got pulled for their own times, but yeah, because it's like, wait, you don't have to stay here and do this assignment. You get to go play games. What?
Right.
Yeah.
It was uh so I was so great. I'm still so grateful to her
Good.
because uh this is a lady that helped me to where I've had over 200 jury trials standing in front of the audiences. So this is a lady that took me from one to the other, right? And
That's
also my
amazing.
confidence. But my problems weren't solved. They just one of my problems was solved
Yes.
because, as I said before, I spent the entire second grade standing out in the hall for discipline problems. And I must say, my entire elementary school life was that way. And uh, starting in the second grade, I had to have reading tutors at the beginning of the year to help me uh, catch back up because uh, during the summer, I after the first grade, I forgot everything that I'd been taught.
Oh, geez. Yeah.
So, and if you remember, you may remember this when you were going through school, did they still have first reading group, second reading group, third reading group?
Honestly, I don't remember.
Okay, so the first reading group and it was a very class system, right? For the first reading group wouldn't have anything to do with the second reading group, which wouldn't have
Mm.
anything to do with the stupid third reading group, right? And so from then on in elementary school, every year I would start in the third reading group. And I would work and work, and my mother would help me read. And one tutor told my mother, and this was something that changed my life. It's one of the reasons I became a lawyer. Was she told my mother that I should have to read the newspaper every morning while I'm eating breakfast before school,
Oh.
as additional reading. And so every morning, and this started in the third grade, by the way, I would read the political editorial page
Oh,
while I
wow.
was having breakfast before I went to school every day. To
Wow.
a
So
point where my mother,
not just like the paper, but like the political stuff.
the opinion page.
Oh,
That's what I
geez.
read in the third grade because I needed supplemental reading, right? And every year, this happened in third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade. By the sixth grade, things started to level out a little bit. I would start in the third reading group, and I would work my way to the second reading group. And then by the end of the year, I'd be in the first reading group. And then when summer was over, I'd start back in the third reading group every year.
Yeah.
And, but when I was a senior in high school, the August before my senior year, this doesn't happen for everyone, and it doesn't happen the same. And that a brain, as it matures, finds a way around your problem.
Yeah.
You know that.
Oh, yeah.
The same way as a lawyer for 40 years dealing with massive brain injuries, you learn that brains given time may be able to find a way around an injury, right?
Yeah.
We know that. And August before my senior year, the world cleared up. Somehow my mind found its way around. I always described it as a click. I had one loud click, and the sky and the clouds cleared from the sky, and I could see. And I went, but of course it was too late for high school. So I graduated about 492 out of 600 kids from my high
Okay,
school.
well, not last.
No. And I graduated from undergraduate school university with a 4.0 out of 4 points. And I went to University of Texas Law School, and one person beat me on the bar in Texas. One.
Wow, that's nuts.
And it was because of the work. And I still think it was because of the way I had to learn to work when I was trying to catch up with everyone because I couldn't speak.
Yeah.
And because I couldn't think. And I had to work so much harder to catch up and think. What I mean is that during the summer, I would fall behind everyone else, and then I would spend half the year trying to catch up.
Right? It's that saying, one step forward, two steps back.
Right. And so I've always thought that was an elemental part of the ambition I had to help me achieve what I've done.
Yeah.
And if without my disabilities, I wouldn't have had my success.
That's a good way to think about it. So, okay, what I'm curious about is when did you know it was ADHD? Because I mean, you talked about how, because way back when it was a disciplinary problem.
It was a discipline problem. I couldn't keep my mouth shut. I couldn't stay in my seat. And that's the way they wrote it, even on the report card, right?
Yeah.
And
so when did
that's why I would get the whippings.
Oh,
I really didn't. So I didn't really worry about it. I knew about the click because that was a physical experience.
Yeah.
I knew about the fog clearing from the sky and being able to see. And all of a sudden, I went from struggling to be in class to being easily the first or second student in a class. You know that. But I didn't really realize it till I had till I had a son that had it too. And I had to go with it through him. And I used to tell him this, and this would freak his mother out in a good way, but no, because she never had to deal with it. She never had to suffer. I used to tell my boy, Will, all we have to do is get you to the click. That's how I described when your mind finally worked around it. That's all we have to do. Till then, we just have to get there. So don't worry. Don't think it's not going to happen. Just know that we're going to just make it to that. And I was always there. I was always there when I had, I probably had to go battle at the school every 8 or 9 weeks because the school was very unflexible. It was a public school, but it was a high achievement, very wealthy school. And so they weren't very flexible for the kids that couldn't stay up or keep up. And it was weird because they would quote all their bureaucratic words and all their policies about helping the children. But when it came to it, they weren't flexible and weren't able to do it. And I was so feared and known by them that I actually had other parents come and get me to help them rescue their mainly sons.
Yes, they are more they are higher diagnosed rate in boys.
Yeah, like me, right? Or discipline problems.
Right.
So was my boy. And so I've had, not only have I through the course, sometimes they would hire me as a lawyer just to give me an excuse to be there with them, right? But what they really would hire me to do is help them save their sons to dealing with unflexible school systems.
Yeah.
And it's shocking to me that it's still that way. I thought in our enlightened world, Randy, that school systems would actually be designed to deal with our children that have those problems.
Well, here's the thing with our school system is they are archaic and they have not caught up. They are using the same curriculum and the same style of teaching that they used 100 years ago when they first were putting everybody together. They are so archaic in how they do things that it doesn't even make sense for the day and age that we're in right now. That's my 2 cents. Well, I could give you 5 or 10 cents, but I'll just go with 2 today.
See, we can disagree about this, and I always love disagreement during a podcast. Friction makes better fiction, always. Right? And I can't believe that. I don't believe that. The people that I've had to deal with over the decades were people who thought of themselves as extremely and highly educated people in the latest education tactics. And, you would have these meetings. They were called different meetings at different schools. But the meeting where the parent and the convention of bureaucrats, including teachers, administration, counselors, specialists, they all meet together, right?
Oh, yeah.
When they go over their policy and they do their plan for the year, or they do their amended plan for the year, the supplemental plan for the year, because those are all, as plans don't work, they add amended or supplemental to it and keep working on it. Mm-hmm. And these were people that were educated and convinced that they had the most modern techniques to deal with children with these disabilities, but they never seem to be flexible, which is the most important thing you can be. Because let me tell you, I I was a family nerd before, when I was practicing law, and I was a family nerd. That's why it took me so long to get to writing the books, the murder mysteries that I write now, right? Because I was too busy, between practicing law, which is a jealous mistress and always wants your time, and a family with 3 children. You don't have time
This
to
is
do it.
very true. Yeah.
So I coach like 35 little league teams, boys or girls, every sport.
Wow.
And the
Yep.
thing I learned most about all these children, Randy, is that each one of them, to push the button that is their mind, it's a different button for each one of these children,
Yeah.
right? And for this system to reach these children in their disability, you have to be flexible enough to find the button on that child so you can push it.
Yeah.
Flexibility.
It's huge. And you know what? We can agree to disagree on the whole school thing because I'm coming from the Canadian system and you're coming from the American system, anyways.
Well, I like disagreement. Like I said, it makes for a better show anyway.
Puppy. So, everyone, like I said, I would share the puppy. There he is. And he's trying to dig a hole. Don't go away, puppy. I love you.
He'll dig a hole in your garden if you let him.
I know he would. He is. So, he's giant, as you could all see. He is a shepherd with a little bit husky. But he's only just a pup. He's only 2. He's just a pup. He's a little boy. So, anyway, and I have a third dog around here somewhere. He's probably laying in the shade, the old man. So I like how you were talking about the click when something finally clicks and it's like, oh, okay, everything makes sense now. It's amazing because it's definitely the way that we've had it. So for those who have been following the show, you know that my youngest has autism and ADHD and all the letters. And when the click finally happened for him, it was amazing.
Yeah, it changes your whole life. And I mean dramatically and instantly.
Yes. And I really when you said that you realized it was ADHD for you and not a disciplinary problem because of your son, I found out I have autism after my kid goes, Mom, if I have autism, so do you. I went, oh, really? And then I went and talked to the psychologist. They're like, yeah, you do. I'm like, oh, well then. So it's so funny because sometimes, yeah, we don't realize for ourselves because we've grown up. Right? You learn to deal with what life throws at you, all the clicks, the things.
I can tell you a story about that. Let me tell you a story about that.
Okay. Story time.
It's my theoretical genetic advantage to having ADHD. There's actually an advantage to it. Once you get the click, once it's clear, once you're getting on. As a lawyer, I had a competitive advantage over everybody else because now I can work on 9 cases at once. It's no big deal. I do it all the time, right? Or I'm doing a jury trial where your battle plan under Joe war logic is to create chaos so you can have them fight on your field and not their field. That's all. I have the competitive advantage in all of that.
That's a really good point. And the competitive advantage when it comes to creativity. I feel like us neurodiverse people, the ADHD, the autism, all of those things, we tend to have a more creative mind, which really quite helps with the book writing.
It does. And in fact, I wrote some good words today.
Excellent.
On the 3rd book. Murder for Me is the book that about that I wrote about. I have a Murder by Storm, which goes with what you said. My next book, Murder by Storm. So I'm writing the book, right? And I'm like, I want more. So I write the book. It's a murder thriller that occurs during a hurricane.
Oh.
So you talk about chaos. It's complete chaos.
Right?
And it made it so exciting to write.
Oh, nice. I love me a good murder mystery. I had a question and then it left. It'll be back maybe. But I always like to ask everybody though for their piece of wisdom for those listening that maybe in this case, maybe their kids are going through and having some difficulties in school. What's your piece of wisdom for the parents to help them?
Okay. I think of some things I did right and some things I did dramatically wrong.
Yep.
Okay. So this is a little bit of a confession session, too.
Oh.
Okay. So the most important thing is that your child, I'm not saying to be a wet noodle, but I am saying that your child needs to know that you love them and you believe in them and you're behind them no matter what. Now to take a little bit of what I did wrong and how you shouldn't do that. You need to be, even if you are a disciplined person, you need to have additional patience and fast forgiveness for your child when they make mistakes. I did not I did not get over or forgive when my son made some mistakes and get things smooth and regular again so he could do better. And you need to do that because people make mistakes, and when you have some of these problems, you make more frequent mistakes, and the parents have to deal with that in a calm, forgiving way. I didn't say in an undisciplined way,
Yeah.
but in the calm, forgiving, a pretty fast forgiving way.
Mm-hmm.
That's something I didn't do that I should have done. Okay.
I like that. That is some wisdom nobody has shared yet. And that is, yeah, that's some good stuff right there. That's one thing, actually, as you're saying that. So in grade 4, yeah, grade 4, my kid was in, it was called the social strategies class. And the teacher there was amazing. So so my kid just graduated high school. Out of all his teachers, there was like 2 good ones. And this was one of them, the grade 4 teacher. And the one day he was having a meltdown. And so I had to pick him up from school. And the teacher and the EA, they both said to him, "We can't wait to see you come back to school tomorrow. We're really excited to have you come back. You had a rough day today. That's okay. But you know what? We're going to start fresh tomorrow." And them telling him that in that moment where it was like, you don't have to worry, because he would always worry about, oh no, are they going to be mad at me tomorrow when I come back to school or whatever. No, they said it right from the start. We're happy to have you come back tomorrow. We're going to start fresh. We're going to forget this even happened. It's okay. We all have bad days.
Yeah. That was a great day. You thought it was a bad day. Later you realized, hey, that's a good day.
Yeah.
I get it.
So we've already a little bit established what you've written, but tell us a little bit more about your book.
Okay, so I write murder thrillers about characters that over the last 40 years of my law practice I've come across. And I don't mean the average characters, but we all know those few people that are in some way completely different than the rest of us that you don't forget.
Yeah.
And in my business, some of those people are really bad. And some of them need a lot of help. And I have compiled no particular person, but into these fictional characters with a story that takes apart from something that happened here and something that happened here to make like the next book, the hurricane. That's Harvey. That was the 7 days of Harvey that sat on Houston, and I spent 7 days living in a high-rise downtown during a hurricane. And every day I would walk across the park to where the refugee center was for all the people that had been flooded out so far. And I would help those people. And I would travel around town helping refugees. And then for weeks and weeks after the hurricane left, we would help people gut their homes and prepare them for repairs. Strangers, people you never met, you would never meet again, but they needed help. And what I saw that 7 days during the hurricane, I wanted to remember, and I wanted to infuse in a book. And so this craziest stuff that you'll read in this book that you're like, oh, that couldn't happen. That couldn't, man, I was there. I saw it. I was doing that stuff.
Right? Yeah.
Like water, like manholes that blow off, and there's a water fountain that's spewing out of the manhole 2 stories high.
Oh my goodness.
That happens. Stuff like that happens. It's crazy.
That is great. I'm picturing it right now.
Or I remember when the hurricane was coming. This lady, I'll never forget this lady, and she filtered some of what was in the novel. And there was this lady, she was homeless, and she lived across from the park, not far from where I live. And so this giant hurricane was coming that wound up sitting on Houston for 7 days. And I'm not a nice enough person. I don't help the homeless all the time. I'm not that guy. This day, for this lady, I went over there to try to help her. And I tried to get her to go to a homeless shelter. She wouldn't do it. I tried to get her to go to any shelter. She wouldn't do it. She wouldn't move. I stayed there for 45 minutes trying to get her to move. Wow. She never moved. And, a hurricane comes across an area in waves, where it comes, it destroys, it leaves, then another wave comes until the main eye gets there. It's like a hand. And so she was there before the first wave hit. She wasn't there when that wave was past, and I never saw her again. I don't know what happened to that woman.
Oh my goodness.
But things like that, just the craziest or the terrible things that you can't forget, I put in the book, because I thought, number one, it's the perfect way that someone could think they could get away with it.
It's true, yeah.
It's because the police are not where they're supposed to be anymore.
Yeah.
And so I thought, let me see if I can do it. So that's what I did. It was great.
Oh, awesome. And so the next, right?
You froze for a second.
Oh, so you're writing another one right now, right?
Right. It's a murder thriller during a trial.
Okay. And when is that one going to come out?
I think it will come out next summer. They're scheduled to come out in October, and then the Audible books are scheduled to come out after that. And then after the Audible books for book 1 and 2 come out, probably 6 months after that, then the next book will come out. Okay, I think that's the way my publisher has it planned.
Very nice. I like that. And what's the name of your books again?
Murder for Me is the first book. It's out now. And Murder by Storm will be out in October.
Excellent. October is such a good month. It's my birthday month. Such a good month.
Ah, what, October?
Yes.
Yes, it's my birthday month too.
Ooh, what day is your birthday?
The second.
Oh, mine's on the third.
Oh wow, that's unbelievable.
That's
But I'm not
awesome.
allowed. My wife gets to have a birthday month, but she doesn't allow me to have one.
So for anyone who doesn't know, women get that and men don't. It's a total double standard, and I'm okay with it.
I'm okay with it too because I have all these granddaughters that have birthdays all around me. So
Oh,
we're too busy celebrating them anyway.
there you go. How many granddaughters you got, or grandkids in general?
I have three. I have a set of granddaughter twins that are almost 3 years old, and they're genetically identical.
Okay,
And they have a 6-year-old sister.
nice. Oh, that's exciting. Both of my in-laws are twins. So my father-in-law is an identical twin, and my mother-in-law is a fraternal twin.
That's
How crazy is
confusing. It's still confusing.
Well, when you see them all beside each other, you can really quite tell who's identical and who's not. So where do people pick up your books?
They can get them on Amazon under Murder for Me, Russell Little. My publisher just said yesterday during a different podcast that, and this is something I didn't even know, that in 2 months, Murder by Storm will be on pre-sale, so you'll be able to order it then on Amazon. I think, because I don't know for sure.
Yeah.
Right. And I have a Facebook page, Russell Stories.
Okay.
And people are welcome to come and join it. And I try to tell people what I'm doing on that page. Like this morning, I was on that page saying that I had a 9:30 interview today. It wasn't like all other interviews. I'd let you know how it went. I was a little bit nervous because we're not really talking about the book or being an author. We're really talking about kind of our personal life and things
Totally.
we've had to deal with. And that's a different podcast than all other podcasts.
I like
And
to be a little fresh.
well, I got to tell you, and your listeners should really know that unlike all other podcasts that I've done, you send out this questionnaire that's very, very inquisitive because you're getting ready. I appreciate the way you got ready for this podcast. So you already knew a bunch. So thank you so much.
Oh, well, thanks. I try hard. I like to have like a little, because we're going to have a conversation, right? So I like to have a little bit of know-how just in case, because sometimes people are new to being interviewed and they're more scared. So if I don't have something to kind of pull from to help them, then it's not as fun. And some people are so well versed at doing interviews that we just have to sit back and have fun.
Yeah.
So you already said you've got your Facebook page. Any other ways that people can follow you?
I don't think so. I do a podcast too on Mondays called Author Talk.
Okay.
And we interview a different author every Monday. And we've been doing that for about 9 years.
Wow, and I
And
thought 3 was a long time.
3 is a long time, isn't
True,
it?
but 9.
Yeah.
Wow.
But 3 is a long time.
It
But
is. Most podcasters quit within the first 20 episodes. So
yeah, I thought it was 6 weeks.
yeah, something like that. I think it
Yeah.
is about 6 weeks. Yeah.
Most within 6 weeks. So they can watch. You can get that on all the podcast channels. It's Author Talk. They can follow me on my Facebook page or my Facebook author page, Russell Stories. Russell Little is my Facebook page. It's just my Facebook page. And it's a public page, so anybody can come and check it out.
Okay.
I don't do Instagram or that because as my published advisor told me once, don't do all the social media. Pick your social media and do it right. And don't do it all. So I chose because my main readers are over 30 years old. Most of my readers, 90%
so
of my
they're
readers are
Facebook.
over.
Yeah,
Right.
they're Facebook.
They're on Facebook. So that's what I'm on, Facebook.
Yeah.
Right. And in fact, most of my readers are women over 30. Like
I can see that. Murder mystery.
3%
Yep.
of the people that buy my books on, you get that you get the readout. 93% of the people that buy my books are women over 30 on Amazon.
I can definitely see murder mysteries being women over 30. Yep.
And I can say this, that we all know that 80% of the books bought in America are bought by women, not men. Men don't read books. Women read books.
I didn't know that. My husband reads a ton.
Yeah, I do too. But we're the weirdos, not the common. The common thing is men don't read, women read. It's sad but true.
Well, that's an interesting stat. I did not know
And
that.
most people, here's the thing, and most readers that buy books don't buy one book at a time. Most people,
Yeah.
the majority of people buy more than one book at a time.
Yeah, that I did know.
You see, I've actually been doing some research about this because it goes back to ADHD becoming an advantage the older you get, right? You learn how to use it. So I can do all this research while I'm doing everything else.
It's true, which is good. And sometimes you just get down a rabbit hole and you just want to know more and more and more.
I like rabbit holes.
They can sometimes be a lot of fun.
Yes, I intentionally go down rabbit holes.
Yeah. All right. So thank you so much for coming and joining us on the show. It's been awesome.
Thank you, Randy.
As always, thank you so much for the amazing guests that we have on the show. Be sure to check out their links down in the description below. If you want to support the channel, go ahead and check out our merch store. We've got some very cool things on there. That's my favorite. Sorry, I'm busy ending the stigma. But there's some other very cool designs. 10% of the proceeds always goes back to the Canadian Mental Health Association. Be sure to follow us on Facebook at RB Media because we have some great new shows coming up and you never want to miss any of those episodes. And remember, the only way to end the stigma of mental health is to speak openly and honestly.